in so far in recorded history. So to begin with, I had informed you about Northeast India in our Puranic and Itihasic literature. And later on, the first recorded dynasty of Northeast is the Kamrup kingdom. Kamrup kingdom finds its mention in the 4th century BCE, which is from Samudragupta's inscription in Allahabad. And interestingly, the king of Kamrup sends Kanishka during his coronation a gift of Sanchipat. Sanchipat is a manuscript from Assam and with a kit of drawing material. Now, this is again, you get it from the records and inscription in Kanauj. And later on, in the 10th to 11th century, it came under the Pala dynasty of Bengal. And finally, Assam came uh, under the Ahoms. Ahoms are a group of people who are led by a Shan prince from Yunnan, present-day Yunnan region of China. They came through Burma and they took over Assam, and they were becoming. This was in the year in the 13th century, and they ruled Assam up to 1826. To 1826, it was sometime in the early 1800s that there was a major invasion by the Burmese kingdom, which is still remembered in folklore of Assamese people and the tribal populations of Assam. There are about 14 tribal groups in Assam. And coming back to history, now finally Assam comes under British after the Yandambu Treaty in 1826. Being so, here you have the spread, the last spread of the Ahom kingdom before the Yandambu Treaty. And their capital was a place called Rangpur, which is presently known as Sagar, and later on they shifted it to Jorhat. So here you could see the expansion of British. Even when the even during the time of British expansion into northeast of India, two principal states were princely states under the British. That is Tripura Kingdom and the Manipur Kingdom. Here you could see this. And also the Kasi Kingdom was separate for a while, which they took it over later on invariably. And Assam is split into four regions. That is Lower Assam, Upper Assam, Central Assam, and the Barak Valley. We will be seeing most of our travel will be in the Lower Assam region and Central Assam region and Upper Assam region. Now, the first stop for us when we travel in Assam will be Gauhati. Gauhati, which is the capital city of Assam. It comes under the Kamrup district. And I would suggest the first place to visit in Guwahati is a newly opened up Mahabahu Brahmaputra River Heritage Center. Now, this is a heritage center which has been built in a 170-year-old Deputy Commissioner's bungalow from the British period, which has been renovated to host a beautiful interactive museum where you could learn about the importance of the mighty Brahmaputra River and the people of Assam. As I told you earlier, the Brahmaputra River brings both joy and tears to the people of Assam because it is the very lifeline of Assam per se. Whether it is agriculture or it is fishing, from food habits to their cultural expression, it is Brahmaputra which shapes the heritage of Assam region. And here you could spend some time. They do have a beautiful interactive museum, and they also have on and off quite a few exhibitions by the Assamese artists. And this is a recent creation. It's open all through the weekdays. Next would be the Assam State Museum. Established in 1940 by the Kamrup Anushasan Samiti, that is a Assam Research Society, which was later taken over by the British and the Assam state government. It houses about 14 galleries, and these galleries they range from historical artifacts to archaeological finds to coin collection. They also have model houses of the Assamese people and the 14 tribal groups which are spread across Assam. Here you could see a view of the galleries over here. One of the highlights of this particular museum is the 18th century Sanchipat manuscript, which is known as Hasti Vidya Nava, which is a manual of elephant maintenance, which was used by the Ahom kings. Now, if you are lucky, this is not displayed throughout the year. It is only during certain time frame they do it. Since it's a very fragile document, they take steps to conserve it. This is one of the star exhibits or the possessions of the Assam State Museum. Next destination would be the Srimanta Shankar Kalakshatra. Srimanta Shankar is a 16th century uh, Vaishnavite philosopher, saint, and Assamese polymath, you can call him, who is known for his contribution to literature and other performing arts in which you see in Assam today. And this is a Kalakshatra, which is a cultural landscape which is spread across an area of 17.5 hectares, where you got several complexes, including an open air amphitheater, where there are regular performances by um, tribal communities across Northeast India and in Assam. And they also have museum display from various places from Assam, and also an separate museum for one of the popular playback singers, actor, producer, and director, Sri Bhupin Hazarika. And they also have a small children's play area and so on. Following this, we'll go to the monument attractions of Gauhati. See, Gauhati as such is a town which is filled with numerous temples. Among them, the primary temple which attracts a lot of people across India is Sri Kamakya Devi Temple. It is one of the 51 Shakti Pitas spread across India, and the list varies according to Devi Mahatmya. It is 51 and 51, 64, and 108 um, Shakti Pitas. And these Kamakya falls among the main Shakti Pitas. It is here that Sri Shakti, that is Parvati Devi's Yoni, that is private part, fell over here. Here, the Garbhagraha, if you notice, does not have an image or a murti which you see in a conventional sanctum sanctorum of a Hindu temple, but it is a natural spring which is being worshipped. This particular temple is located on a hill called Neelchal Hill, and the temple, the structure you see, it has been passed through renovation from the 6th century to the 17th century. The present structure is renovated from the 16th century onwards. It was the Koch king who had rediscovered the shrine, and the present structure was built by him. And this style of architecture, which you see in Assam, the temples in Assam, it is known as a Neelchal type of architecture, right? And here, this particular temple, there is the main festival which is celebrated are here again, if you notice, people do make offerings to the deity where they offer chicken or goats, and they make sure that it is not a female animal, but it's a male animal. There is a taboo for offering female animal, so they do stick to that. And one of the important festivals, the annual festival here happens is the Ambubachi Mela. Ambubachi Mela is a celebration of the menstruation of Sri Kamakya Devi. It is this time when the spring, which is in the Garbhagraha, the Sanctum Sanctorum, the water coming out of the spring turns red. And even the hue of Brahmaputra, which is flowing nearby, turns a little reddish. For these 3 days, this festival falls in the mid of June. For 3 days, the temple is closed, and the people, not just in this region alone, but across Assam, they suspend agricultural activities. They suspend even including reciting prayers and so on. They do fasting. And on the 4th day, the Sanctum Sanctorum is open to the devotees. And that time, the prasad, the unique thing is the prasad which is distributed here is the red color water which comes out of the spring, which is known as Angodak, and the Angabastra. Angabastra is a large piece of cloth which is used to cover this particular spring during the 3 days. And very small pieces of this cloth is cut and distributed among the devotees. And to participate in this particular festival, sadhus, sadhvis, and tantrics from across India and some even from Southeast Asia make sure they visit over here. These are people who don't come into the public eye during the regular part of the year. And that time they take a procession of the goddess back into the shrine. And it is, you see, the sadhus and sadhvis are not just men and women, but also transgender community members like you see over here on the left. And again, you got one of the sadhvis, whom you can see on the right. They come here for a celebration. It's more of a, you could call it as a Kumbh Mela for tantric sadhus, sadhvis. Here there is another unique thing which happens during the Navaratri festival, which is going to come, which is going to begin from day after tomorrow. That is Kumari Puja. You would have all be familiar about the Kumari tradition in Nepal. That is also over here in India. Here, young girls who, before they attain puberty, are worshipped as goddess. And this is not just done by the public. Like for instance, here when I had visited, the grandparents were doing it for their granddaughters, and sometimes even the parents do it for their daughters. And it is like people, according to their economic status, they uh, perform rituals. For instance, here is a couple who and their three daughters doing it for young girls. What they do is they wash their feet, apply sindoor on it, worship them, and feed them. Feed them with sweet meat and a meal, and they seek blessing from these young girls. Where elders they fall on the feet of these girls, young girls, and seek their blessings. Now, this is one of the important traditions which happens over here. And some people who can really afford to do an elaborate ritual, they'd be doing something of this sort, where they will also do a feast for not just young girls, but also for the public. Moving next, here is an image of metal image which is used for procession of Sri Kamakya Devi, and interestingly, this was made from my home state, Tamil Nadu. The bronze image which has been used over there is from Tamil Nadu. Next temple we'll be visiting is the Sri Nabagraha Temple, located on the Chitrasal Hill, which is also known as the Nabagraha Hill commonly nowadays. This is a place which has been sacred to Sri Surya. And also there are some accounts where there is a mention that the important astronomical treatise of India, that is the Surya Siddhanta, had originated. And it is accredited to one of the Sapta Rishis, that is Vashishta Maharishi, who is supposed to be the person who had come out with the treatise on astrology. Now, this is a Navagraha temple with 9 Shivalingas, with Sri Surya Shivalinga on the center and other planets in circular form. Here, people come to worship all the planets or a particular planet by doing rituals guided by the priest over here. The next interesting site in Gauhati is the Umananda Island. Umananda Island is one of the smallest inhabited islands on the Brahmaputra River. It is, you can take a ferry from Gauhati ferry station and you can travel over there. Off late, they do offer lunch and a sunset cruise in the Brahmaputra, and among in that one of the sites they visit is the Umananda Island. Now, this island, you find mention of this island in the Kalika Purana, one of the 18 Mahapuranas in Dharmic tradition. Here, this is the site where Sri Shiva burns Kamadeva into ashes. And also, it mentions that it is these ashes of Kamadeva which is the formation of this particular island. And the main attraction in the island is the Umananda Temple. The Umananda Temple, it was destroyed in a one of the earthquakes in 1897. It is a 16th century structure which is destroyed in 1897 during the earthquake, and it is, how do you call it, rebuilt by a local merchant. Please remember, northeast of India is fragile landscape which is prone to numerous earthquakes. One of the severe earthquakes which happened over here was on August 15th in 1950, in the year 1950, which had an impact on the Tibetan plateau, northeast of India, and tremors were felt all the way up to Bengal and even Orissa. And there has been folklore and also folk literature which, oh, the oral memory of people, they tell that they spent about 7 days clinging to trees alone because the tremors were felt continuously for 7 days. So due to these frequent earthquakes, recorded earthquakes, people, it goes till the 1600s till the present one, the last major earthquake which was in 1950. So the next site we'll be seeing here you could see the river cruise moving on towards to the Umananda Island. Next interesting site near Gauhati town is the Tipur Bill. Bill in Assamese language means a lake. This is one of the large freshwater lakes watered by the Brahmaputra in the lower Assam region, which is spread across. It was designated Ramsar site in 2002, and it is a bird watcher's paradise. Here, this particular bill supports or sustains 12 villages and approximately about 1,500 families which are around this particular bill. And here you could see about 219 species of birds, among which 70 of them are migratory species. And here, there has been a challenge where the government has to intervene for to curb fishings by the local. They don't have a problem when the 12 to 14 villages around this particular bill do the fishing, but when there is an abundant fish resource, bird spreads, and people from distant villages come over here. At that time, the Assam government has to impose Section 144 to curb overfishing on this particular lake. A little further away from Gauhati is a small historic town called Hajo, which is about 25 kilometers northwest of Gauhati. And this particular place is both sacred to Hindus and Buddhists, especially Buddhists of Tibet and Bhutan, believe that it is in this particular town, in one of the hills in this town, where Lord Buddha attained his Mahaparinirvana, and not in Kushal Nagar, which is in the conventional sense. So here we will be visiting is Hajo, the Sri Hayagriva temple. This particular temple is an interesting temple because one of the forms of Lord Vishnu, that is Hayagriva, he is also considered as a lord of learning. He has got a face of a horse. It is, according to the Kalika Purana, it was here that Lord Sri Hayagriva takes his form. And this particular place has got a beautiful temple, which is again in the Neelchal style of architecture, which has been built between the 16th century onwards with various renovations. And here you could see sculptures of the 10 avatars of Lord Vishnu. And an interesting thing is, for those of you who visited Ellora, you could see the Kailasanatha temple in Ellora, which has been supported at the base with elephants, right? Similar, you could see it in this particular temple. Here you find a sculpture of Garuda carrying Lord Vishnu on his shoulders, Lord Narasimha. And another attraction near Gauhati, which is about 29 kilometers further from Gauhati, south of Gauhati, it is in the north of Gauhati, across the Brahmaputra in the north bank. Gauhati is located on the southern bank of Brahmaputra. You have to cross. It's about 29 kilometers on the north bank. Is a village called Saulkuchi. Sorry for the spelling. It is S-A-U-L, Saulkuchi. Now, this is a place known for the Assamese silk, which is the famous Muga or the golden hue Tasar silk. which is made from wild silkworm, which is rare over here. And this particular village was established by the Pala dynasty, Pala kings in the 11th century. And the Assamese sari, which you see over here on the right, is known as Mekhala. Now, this particular village is known for the Mekhala weaving, and there are three types of Assamese silk uh, material. That is the Muga silk, which has got a GI tag in 2007, and then followed by the Pat. Pat is a variety of silk which was imported from Thailand sometime in the 1960s, 70s, and this is the silkworm which rears in the castor plant. And finally, you got the sorry, it is Pat is from the mulberry silkworm, and eri is the one which sustains itself in the castor plant. Here, this village, interestingly, unlike any other region in Assam or Northeast, here weavers are both men and women across various caste and tribal lines. It's not just, it's only one community who does the weaving, but there are a lot of people in the village who do weaving, irrespective of social barriers. And this is, they use the traditional loom with the jacquard, which is a modern mechanism. And another side of interest in Saulkuchi is the Hati Satra. Satra means monastery. And these monasteries came up in Assam, across Assam, as, as an impact of the Neo-Vaishnavite movement, which was founded by Srimanta Shankar Deva. This particular Hati Satra is about from the 17th century, and it is known for these wooden panels which you see from the Vishnu Purana and the intricate wooden designs on the doorways. So now we have seen the attractions around Gauhati. I would like to take you to the natural heritage of Assam. Nearer to Gauhati, there are 4 national parks which you could see. And Assam as such is home to 22 protected areas, which are wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. Among them, we would be visiting, which is nearer to Gauhati, is the Bobitara Wildlife Sanctuary, which is about 55 kilometers northeast of Gauhati. Now, this particular sanctuary comprises of grassland and westland, and this has got the highest number of rhinoceros population in Assam. So much so that it has been overpopulated, and they had to transfer some of the rhinoceros to Manas National Park, which is bordering Bhutan in north of Assam, which is also a which is also an UNESCO World Heritage Site. And here they have recently started these safaris, that is the elephant and the jeep safaris, which has been restarted after a brief lapse of time. And here there is also a birders paradise, where it is categorized as an important birding area, where you can find 375 species of birds and more than about 500 species of migratory birds. The star attraction over here is the great hornbill, which is an endangered species. The next wildlife sanctuary which we will be visiting nearer to Gauhati is the Orang National Park, which is 132 kilometers northeast of Gauhati on the north bank of Brahmaputra. Now, this is spread over a space of about 79 plus square kilometers. Till 1900s, this particular national park was inhabited by the local tribal population, but due to an endemic, they vacated this place. And later on in 1919, the British declared Orang as a game park. And 1985, it became an important national park for the Project Tiger. The star attractions over here are the variety of birds like the hornbill, and there are about 3 types of forests over here. That is the deciduous forest, the seasonal swamp forest, and the alluvial grasslands. And this is considered as an important Indo-Burma biodiversity hotspot. And some of the other star attraction is the Royal Bengal tiger, the Asiatic elephants, a variety of about 222 species of birds, the Indian rock python, the black carrot, and the king cobra. Next, we go on to the Manas National Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. If you notice, Manas National Park shares its boundary with international boundary with the Kingdom of Bhutan, and it is an extension of the Royal Manas National Park in Bhutan. Now, this place is spread over about 500 square kilometers, and it falls in the foothills of the eastern Himalayas, and it gets its name from the Manas River. And this place, you notice, it is more of a semi-evergreen forest. This was part of the Koch Bihar kingdoms, that is from Gauri, the small principality from Gauripur, further down south of Assam, bordering, which is nearer to the Bangladesh-Bengal border, and it was their hunting grounds. Later on, in 1985, it was declared as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and between 1992 and 2011, it was listed as a World Heritage Site in danger due to two reasons: poaching and also terrorist activities. Some of the important wildlife over here is the golden langur, which you find it in this particular Manas National Park, and it has got the largest population of water buffaloes. Then you got the samba deer, and another species of the hornbill, which you see over here, and the Asiatic elephants, of course. Further, we move on a little further away from Gauhati. Now, this time we come into the central, or rather you could call it as the buffer zone between the central and the upper Assam region. This is Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve. There's an interesting story about how Kaziranga became a protected area. Sometime in 1904, this lady, Mary Curzon, the wife of the Viceroy of the then Viceroy of India, Curzon, visit the national park. About for 3 days, they have been traveling on an elephant back around the national park, and they were disappointed that they could not see even a single rhinoceros, of which the Kaziranga National Park is famous for. Due to the pressure of Mary Curzon, Lord Curzon, the Viceroy of India, in 1905, declares Kaziranga as a reserve forest. And up to 1938, outsiders were not permitted to visit the place, including the British officers. Later on, in 1954, if I'm not wrong, Assam government passes an act called the Rhinoceros Act. And after this, sometime in the 1970s, late 1970s, Kaziranga is the first place in India which took a firm action against poachers, because the then forest commanding officer was a gentleman who came up with the policy of shoot first, question later, where poachers were not given any warning, but they were shot. Here, the interesting thing, this is one of the parks where you can take a safari on the back of an elephant, early morning safari, and this gives you an opportunity to see the rhinoceros in close quarters. Now, this will be the kind of thing which will be through the grassland. Through the grassland over here, and it is for about an hour and a half, the safari on the elephant, and you will be accompanied by an armed forest security guard. Armed for two purposes. For one, to protect the visitors who are on the elephant back, and the second is to check on poachers. And this is, as I told you, this is a very good opportunity for you to see the rhinoceros in close quarters. They do have a jeep safari, but in that you would be able to only see it in a on a distance. In the 1980s, now this is a sighting of rhinoceros when you take the jeep safari. In 1980s, one of the separatist movements in Assam, known as United Liberation Front of Assam, ULFA, were very keen in protecting the rhinoceros, where they started to check on poachers. In 2017, a controversy erupted when BBC made a news documentary saying that in that year alone, the forest rangers had shot about 20 people who were suspected of poaching. And the forest department came out with evidence that they were not suspected, but they had the evidence that they were poaching. And out of them, 75% of them were caught red-handed. One of the new additions in the Kaziranga National Park is the Kaziranga National Orchid and Biodiversity Park in the Durgapur village, which houses about 500 species of orchids, which you find in northeast India, about 50 to 30 species of bamboo and cane, so on. Moving further, now we come to Jorhat. Jorhat is one of the important points in the central region of Assam, which is which worked as the capital of the Ahom dynasty after they moved from Sibsagar, and it is also home for one of the first resistances which were offered to the British. Among them, it was this man. His name is Maniram Diwan. He's from Kanauj, Kanauj region. He was one of the first Indian planters in tea planters in Jorhat, and he was first an ally to the British administration. But during the Sepoy Mutiny of 1856, he switched sides and he helped the rebels over here. For this purpose, he was hanged in 1858. And Jorhat is known for the famous Assam tea. The Assam tea, which is commonly known as the Camellia assamica, is grown over here. Interestingly, the tea gardens in Assam, that is starting from Jorhat all the way up to North Assam, are on flat landscape, unlike the ones which you see in Darjeeling or in South India, where tea gardens are on the hill slopes. Now, tea as such is not something new in Assam. It has been native in Assam because it was discovered in 1893 by 1823 by the Scottish adventurer Robert Bruce, and he was introduced to the Singpo tribe, who used to cultivate the Assam tea. The Singpo tribe are spread in Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, and in Burma. They were cultivating this particular variety of tea called as Camellia assamica, and unfortunately, before he could develop this into a commercial thing, he passed away. And this interest of tea cultivation among the British grew in sometime in the late 1800s. And in 1900, here you could see a map of the tea estates which are there in northeast India, which are cultivated by the British. Most of the ones which you see are in central and upper Assam, and further down in the Silchar Hills, which is in the southern Assam region. And this particular tea became very famous in Britain, and the British started to believe that this Assam tea can give run for the Chinese tea as a severe competition, but unfortunately they were not able to do much. Even today, Assam tea is famous over here. And here in Jorhat, you could see some of the tea factories which are still producing tea, and also the colonial managers' bungalows, which many of them they are now giving out as homestay accommodation to tourists. And this man, Dr. Harold H. Mann, the chief scientific officer of the British administration, founded the first tea research facility in the world in 1900. It is known as the Toklai Tea Research Institute, which is still functioning, the world's oldest tea research station. See, the British identified two places in the world which are ideal for tea cultivation. One is Assam in India, and the second was in Kenya. But Kenya, they did not have a research station. Whatever they did over here was transferred over there. In this research station, they tried to make a hybrid variety of tea by mixing the Chinese variety and the local Assamese variety. Unfortunately, they failed because of the climatic conditions. And this place also has the heritage guest house, which is used by the government dignitaries. Some of the prominent Indians who stayed there are Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the former President of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, the former Prime Minister of India, and so on. And another attraction in Jorhat is the Jorhat Gymkhana Club, one of the old clubs in India, which was established by a planter named D. Simmons in 1876. Because see, across India, you notice the Gentlemen's Club and the Gymkhana clubs, they come across as a entertainment for the British population. For long, even the Indian royalty were not permitted over here, and it is much of a members club today. But of course, they open the outer premises for the visitors. Now, this particular club, which is there right now, is famous for the pony races, which is known as the Jorhat race, and for which the Governor's Trophy is distributed. And the Jorhat Gymkhana Club boasts of the oldest golf course in Asia and the third oldest golf course in the world. It's a 9-hole golf course, which is a golfer's delight. And here you could see an old photograph from 1907, a congregation of the planters who met up for the golf tournament over there. And here is one of the collage of the photographs taken during the pony races in the Jorhat Gymkhana Club. Here is the view of the cricket grounds. At the under 19 cricket, the C.K. Naidu Cricket Trophy is played in these cricket grounds. One of the trophies they had won in the pony races in 1932. And another historical mark with this particular club is a portion of the club. You see this sheltered place, which is presently the car park, was used as a hangar during World War II. Nearer to Jorhat is the Holgon. I'm sorry about the pronunciation. It's a Holgon Par Gibbon Sanctuary. It's a home to the only gibbon species found in India, that is the western Holag gibbon and the Bengal slow loris, which is a nocturnal species. And these species require various levels of canopies. So here the forest is an evergreen forest with various levels of canopies, which is home of these two species. And this particular sanctuary is in threat because of logging and inhabitation of the tea planters. Moving on from Jorhat, we'll be visiting Majuli River Island. I'm sorry, I will be needing to go fast because of the time constraint. Yeah. The Majuli River Island is one of the largest, the second largest to be specific, the second largest river island in the world. Now, this is not a natural island. It was formed in sometime in the 1500s, sometime in the 1500s, when there was massive or a series of earthquakes, and which caused a massive flooding of the Lohit and the Brahmaputra rivers. And the silt which got deposited formed the Majuli Island. Originally, this island was spread over about 1,255 square kilometers. Presently, it has shrunk to 352 square kilometers. Here you could see Majuli, the main island is there, but nevertheless the small islands are also inhabited in various ways. And the people of Majuli celebrate the Brahmaputra even when it's flooded, because It is the Brahmaputra which is their lifeline over there. And they do practice agriculture over there. Rice cultivation is done. Here you could see the administrative divisions of the Majuli group of islands. And Majuli group of islands is in the tentative UNESCO World Heritage Site list from 2004. I wish they do give the status soon. And the only access to Majuli Island is through ferries. Whether you take your four-wheeler or a two-wheeler, or whether you have a cycle also, whatever it is, you have to take a ferry from the south bank near to Jorhat and cross over to reach Majuli. Though it might be a little fearful for some, it is little adventurous. And also the local people use it. Like here, you could see a gentleman taking his produce into Majuli Island for the weekly hart, that is a weekly market. What he is packing in the back of a cycle is a handmade cane basket housing the young ducklings. This is what the local people use. Except apart from the motorized boat, you also have these rowboats, because these are the rowboats where it's manned by about 3 to 4 men, where they use these long bamboo shafts to push. About two of them will be using the long bamboo shafts to push the boat, while two of them will be rowing it to take it to the direction they desire. And also Majuli Island is also another birder's paradise where you, because of the small water bodies which are filled up after the frequent rains, and the bridges you see, like the bridge over here, are all wooden bridges inside the island. And there are only two places in India where you can see the Chinese fishing nets. One is in Cochin and Kerala, the backwaters of Kerala and Fort Kochi region in Cochin, and in Majuli Island. And Majuli Island is home to the Mishing tribal community. They they are known for their architecture and their dance performances, and they are very skilled in fishing. If you notice, a missing house will be similar to this, which will be in stills. Earlier they used to use bamboo stills, but right now they use concrete stills, which is more durable. And they build a home using cane and bamboo. Least amount of metal is used because it is more useful for them in terms of the climatic conditions over here. And every household, like this household you see, they will have a small canoe which can be of varied sizes. And this is the interior of the missing village, where it will have a central kitchen fireplace. Now this fireplace is also the kitchen. It is a mechanism where they warm their home during the winter and the monsoon season. Here you could see the women engaged in dehusking rice using traditional method, and all these the bamboo trays they use are made by men. Like this gentleman making a division for his particular land, and each house will have a kitchen garden. A kitchen garden is another vital supply for the greens and vegetables for people across Assam. Across Assam, you can see this, not just among the missing community, but any given home or a cluster of homes of Assam will be surrounded by a small tank, which they use for drinking water, and also they do fishing. And every house will have a kitchen garden. And the Mishings are also known for their weaving. They make um, in a they make textile, that is the textile for both men, that is an overcoat for a men, and a sharang type of lower garment for men, which is predominantly black with red border and red floral designs like this one you see in this image. And here you could see missing women using traditional fishing tools to catch small freshwater fishes, which they catch it in this large bamboo basket and fill it up in the small baskets which they hang it in their hip. Now, the Majuli Island is known for its satras. Satras are no Assamese word for monasteries. These are Vaishnavite monasteries which were established under the influence of Srimanta Shankar Deva. Srimanta Shankar Deva is a 15th century Assamese scholar, saint, and a polymath, you could call, because he is known for his literary contribution, his contribution to performance arts, and his mode of philosophy is Ekasharama Dharma, which is a single focused devotion to Lord Krishna. And the primary mode of worship for them is not just the image of Lord Krishna, but the Srimad Bhagavata Purana, which was compiled by him. And he establishes a series of satras across Assam. Among them, there are about 22 satras in Majuli Island alone. Srimanta Shankardeva takes up a pilgrimage sometime in his young days, and it was his influence of his pilgrimage that numerous bhakti saints across India, namely Namdeva, Guru Nanak, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, had an influence from Srimanta Shankardeva. And even today, his philosophy and the literature and art forms and food habits have influence on common Assamese people, whether they are mainland Assamese people or the tribal societies over here. So let us see the satras over here. The first satra we'll be visiting is the Auniyati Satra. Auniyati Satra is known for its Palnam dance form, which is performed by the monks over there, and their museum. Here is the main shrine inside the Satra. Here you could see the Satra monks who would be reciting the Bhagavata Purana, which are written on the Sanchi Pat. These Sanchi Pats go back all the way to the 16th century. It is one of the prized possession of every given Satra over there. And there are three types of Satras. Misra is a Satra where, except the Satra Adhikari, that is the chief head of the Satra, other monks can marry, but they cannot live with their family inside the monastery. The second one is Udasan. Udasan is a group of monks who have a celibate, only male monks who lead a celibate life. And the third group are the Grihastha monks who can marry and live with their family members inside the Satras. So this Satra you see is a Udasan Satra. Here, this is the Satra Adhikari, the chief of the Satra head, you can call him, a young boy. The Satra monastery, they take the monks from age of 10 to 12, when their own parents and the young boys accept that they want to become monks. And they do learn a skill. Each Satra is known for a particular art form. Like as I told you, Auniyati Satra is known for the Palnam dance. And here is a group of young Satra monks doing their daily course. And this particular portion in the Satra, which is in the very back end, forms as the living quarters of these particular monks. And this particular Auniyati Satra is known for its museum. This museum has got some interesting collections like these copper plate grants from the Ahom kings, old ivory patagas used by the Satra Adhikaris, and the colored Sanchipat manuscripts, and a dance treatise known as the Hasta Muktavali, which was compiled by one of the Satra inmates, that is Suchand Oza. You got a beautifully carved chess board also here, and these are the silver inlaid Bhagwati, which is the coat which was offered to the Satra Adhikaris by the royalties who are the patrons of this particular Satra. And this is one of the Palnam dances performed by the young monks over here. This Palnam dance incorporates a lot of acrobatic movements where these young monks take training from a very tender age, and they give performances, and many of them have given performances not just across India, outside India too. And also here monks make these mats, these hand-woven cane mats, which are used for sitting purpose when they do their prayers and on regular basis. And this is an annual festival which happens in the Auniyati Satra. Now, next Satra we see is Sri Bhanganathi Satra. I told you three types of Satras are there. The Bhanganathi Satra is a Satra where you can find the Grihastha monks who live in the Satra with their family members. And this was a Satra which was founded by Srimanta Shankar Deva's grandson. And here in the Satras, you see this pedestal. It is not just, as I told you, it is not just the image of Sri Krishna, but the Sanchipat of the Srimad Bhagavata Sanchipat is the deity itself. So the obedience is paid to the Sanchipat, which is the Srimad Bhagavata Purana. And here you could see the monks in their regular prayers. And here is a Satra Adhikari. Here also they have a museum, which is not that well maintained like the Auniyati Satra. And here you see the monks also known for their musical dance performances. This is a museum inside the Sri Bhanganathi Satra. One of the prized possessions over here are the gold-plated umbrella, which was donated to the Satra by one of the Ahom kings, followed by the illustrated Sanchipat, which you see over here. Now, this is a Sanchipat which illustrates the Srimad Bhagavata Purana. Next, we go to the Sri Uttar Kamalabari Satra. Now, the Uttar Kamalabari Satra is known for a dance form, which is the Rasalila dance form. Here, the women characters are adorned by the male monks themselves, and they make these performances, followed by a visit to the Sri Nautan Kamalabari Satra. The Nautan Kamalabari Satra is known for its beautiful wooden images, painted wooden images on the walls, like the ones you see in the entrance and the interior courtyard. And also it is known, this particular Satra is known for the Gayan Bayan dance performances. Now you might be wondering that the monks, younger monks, in their childhood, they don't have any other option or they don't have an outlet, but it's not true. Young monks are free to play with the other village kids over here, like you see the young monk on the right playing with a friend of his using marbles. Now this is what is this particular Satra known for. That is the intricate stucco work, wooden stucco work on their archways and so on. And the Gayan Bayan dance performance by the Satra inmates. The final Satra we'll be seeing is the Sri Samaguri Satra. The Samaguri Satra is famous for its mask, life-size masks which are used for performances of various Vaishnavite literature, like for instance, you've got depiction of the Dasavatara, then you've got episodes from the Bhagavata Purana. Here is a life-size, a very large and heavy mask of Ravana. Now these old masks, you could see them in Srimanta Shankar Deva Kalakshatra in Gauhati, which we saw earlier. And also there are only two people who make these masks nowadays. These masks are made using cane frame and stuffed with hay and clay. And later on they are painted on top. So here you see one of the younger Satra artisan, monk, who is showing us how they make the performances. Here is a thing where Surpanaka's transformation from a beautiful damsel to a Rakshasi happens. So this is something they do over there. Now these are the only two monks who make these particular masks. And also the life-size mask, like you could see them working on the cane images for the legs. Now what they do is they stuff it with hay and apply on top of it, they apply clay, dry it up, and then they paint it. The next destination we'll be going to is Sivasagar, earlier known as Rangpur, which was the capital of the Ahom kings. Here is Rangpur. You could see the capital of Ahom kingdom. Sibsagar gets its name from this large man-made lake known as Sivasagar, which is located in the northern part of Assam.
I think there is a network issue at Hari sir's side.
Uh,
Yes, Hari sir.
Hari,
I think Hari sir got disconnected now.
no problem. But look, Motosi ji, how wonderful presentation. Oh my God, it's really something special. And especially the Majuli Island, that is also my dream, always to visit that one, the Majuli Island. And
True, true. Of late I was hearing a lot about Majuli, and then when he Hari sir presented it in so well way, I mean the lifeline is like that boat.
yes, 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 yes. And also, the well presented by Hariji. Hariji, really wonderful, the person, and he travel a lot. He travel a lot without,
Yeah,
the
clearly.
traveling. You can't show that destination like this, and you see the his paintings, collections, and the photographs, areas, even the Chatraj monasteries.
He was explaining about this
Photographs. If you don't travel, you will the not present like this.
because
So
I,
he traveled a lot.
as a normal traveler, I knew कि Assam is a paradise for wild and nature traveler. Apart from Kamakhya, Kamrup Kamakhya temple and Brahmaputra, right? I mean, it's a paradise for the wild and nature explorer. But then it's more than that. It's so much things. I mean, we knew
So
about BB, but this all performances and then the satras, the way Harisa has explained. Oh my God, I was getting butterfly on my stomach.
yeah, in one presentation, he had shown us the paintings of Northeast. Oh my God, that was the amazing collection by Mr. Hari. He is really wonderful, and it is the by luck he is guide, and by luck we are his friend. So whenever we ask, he gave us time. That is his greatness. He is very busy person. I know very well. Lot of books. He is the writing. So the doing a lot. Uh, we have a good collections of the photographs, the everything, the knowledge of area, knowledge of history, culture, tradition, everything. So, but unfortunately, I think he got disconnected. Uh,
Mm. It happens most of the time when it's the home production. We can't help it out.
yeah,
So it happens. And
it,
maybe because it's okay. Next week we are again going to continue with the same topic because
yeah.
unexplored wonder that is Northeast India, and we have just started with Assam. Then we have Nagaland, and I mean Hari sir will be covering Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh. So next week, whatever we have missed out from Assam, we can continue from there, and we can go ahead with other states. So I think for now, let's because it's already time 12:06 now, so we can have a end up wrap. Can wrap our session today. So anything else you want to add up?
No,
And
thanks, viewer, to stay with us. And sorry for the inconvenience in the last part, but it's sometimes it's happened due to the technical, the problems, the network problem, the other things. But we are assuring you when the next Saturday we will continue. We will continue the left part of the Assam, and I will show you that part as well. So the wonderful presenter, Mr. Hari, he will join again next Saturday by 11 o'clock. Don't miss that. Join us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And stay tuned with us. So, next Saturday, we will cover the part which we missed out today, and then we will go ahead with the other states. So, with that, enjoy your weekend. Let's say our goodbye for today.